Niccolò Machiavelli's mind did not concern itself with shallow morality or the lofty idealism of dreamers. He peered into the true mechanics of power, the engines of control that govern rulers, empires, and individuals alike. The Prince, his most infamous work, was not a manual for the kind-hearted, but for the ambitious, the ones who understood that in the real world, control is not given, it is taken. In a time where noise dominates and everyone talks more than they act, Machiavelli's wisdom rings clearer than ever. Power belongs to the man who knows how to say less, appear less, and do more behind closed doors. To understand Machiavelli is to understand that words are a tool, but rarely the most important one. Influence, discipline, perception, fear, respect, and silence. These are the real instruments of power, and those who master them rule. In a world obsessed with speaking, performing, and sharing every emotion, the man who moves in silence becomes a mystery. And in mystery, there is fear. In fear, there is control. So, what does Machiavelli teach us about true control? Not leadership that pleases, but command that dominates. Not conversation that entertains, but strategy that bends reality. He teaches us that less talk isn't weakness, it's a weapon. Control begins with the understanding that power is perception. People do not follow the truth. They follow what they believe is the truth. And Machiavelli knew this. If you can shape a leaf, you can rule man. The man who speaks little but ensures every word shifts a person's mental balance holds more power than the loudest preacher. He wrote that it is better for a ruler to be feared than loved, if he cannot be both. Why? Because love is given conditionally and can change, but fear roots itself deep within the psyche. And here lies the first truth of control. Emotional leverage is stronger than logical persuasion. Control also means managing appearances. Machiavelli insisted that it is not necessary to be virtuous, only to appear so. Modern man confuses authenticity with transparency. But the Machiavellian man understands that a carefully crafted mask is often more useful than an honest face. Control demands that you remain unreadable. When people can predict you, they can plan against you. But when they cannot, they hesitate. And in hesitation, you win. Another cornerstone of Machiavellian control is the power of silence. Silence unnerves. Silence confuses. Silence forces others to speak more, to reveal themselves. In negotiation, in conflict, in love, even in friendship, the silent man holds a higher ground. He lets others trip over their own words while he listens, calculates, waits. When he finally speaks, it is precise and potent. Machiavelli did not believe in fairness. He believed in advantage. And to gain advantage, you must control not just others, but yourself. This is why the Machiavellian man is disciplined. He is not swayed by his feelings. He studies his impulses like a scientist dissects an animal. He knows his weaknesses, and then he hides them. A man ruled by his emotions is easy to manipulate. A man who speaks every thought is easy to read. A man who needs validation is easy to break. But the man who doesn't react, who doesn't explain, who doesn't need, he is terrifying. Because he is free. Control also requires understanding timing. Machiavelli emphasized that power is not seized merely by action, but by correct action at the correct time. There is a moment to attack, and a moment to withdraw. There is a time to make a demand, and a time to stay silent. He warned against action driven by impulse. He praised those who master the art of delay. In modern life, we've lost patience. We mistake speed for efficiency. But the man who can wait, who watches and listens while others rush, often finds that power walks straight into his hands. Machiavelli also taught the value of fear, not as brutality, but as a tool. He understood that respect born of fear is more enduring than affection. When people fear disappointing you, crossing you, or losing your approval, they behave better. Control comes when people modify their behavior in your presence, even in your absence. But there is a fine balance. Machiavelli warns that cruelty must be precise. Random cruelty creates rebellion. Calculated, strategic acts of dominance create order. The wise man instills fear once and ensures it is remembered. There is no need for constant punishment. Just the threat is enough. This is echoed in today's power dynamics. The man who disciplines once with unwavering resolve rarely needs to raise his hand again. The man who tolerates disrespect invites more of it. Control is not about aggression. It's about boundaries. Silent, strong, and unyielding. Control in relationships is no different. Machiavelli didn't write about love, but if he had, he would say, "Never love more than you control." He would warn that the man who gives all his power away in the name of affection becomes a servant. Women may say they want vulnerability, but they crave strength. They want a man who can feel, but chooses when, where, and how to express it. This selectivity is control. He would teach that in matters of love, the one who is least emotionally dependent often holds the power. If she knows she can shake your foundation with silence or withdrawal, then you have already lost your footing. But if she senses that your world remains intact, with or without her, you become irresistible. Because independence is rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. A control man doesn't seek approval. He doesn't ask to be chosen. He chooses. And that act of choosing from a position of strength is what Machiavelli would call the heart of control. Machiavelli also praised adaptability. Control is not rigidity. It is the ability to bend without breaking. The modern man must evolve. He must read the room, feel the energy, and shift his demeanor accordingly. Not to please, but to win. Sometimes control requires kindness. Sometimes charm. Sometimes withdrawal. The Machiavellian man is not one-dimensional. He plays roles as needed, but always remembers which one is the mask and which is the man. And most of all, control is maintained by never revealing your full hand. Machiavelli would sneer at our culture of oversharing, where men boast of their emotions, traumas, and dreams to anyone who will listen. He would say, "Keep your ambitions hidden. Let your results speak. Let your enemies wonder. Let your lovers chase. The less they know, the more they imagine." And imagination is the most potent form of control. We live in a world where dominance is often mistaken for arrogance, where silence is seen as insecurity, and where control is mocked by the insecure. But the man who truly understands Machiavelli knows, power is quiet. Power is calculated. Power is often invisible until it strikes. So speak less. Watch more. Move only when necessary. Show less emotion. Master your image. Learn when to praise and when to punish. Demand respect without asking. Withdraw when others chase. Lead without begging. Because in the end, the world doesn't follow the loudest man. It follows the man who controls what others feel without ever raising his voice. This is the art of control. Welcome to the Machiavelli Guide.